What's going on, everyone? Chris Mack coming at you today with the McFarlane Toys Page Puncher John Constantine Hellblazer. And this figure looks beautiful. And what I love about these Page Punchers, the 7-inch versions, not the tiny ones, is they come with a comic book. Hell yeah! And the packaging doesn't look too bad as well. I love how it says DC Direct there, McFarlane Toys, DC John Constantine, exclusive comic book. Nothing really on the top other than the window. Sides, kind of the same. Like the back, it shows you what comic book it comes with, and the figure, Page Punchers, cool beans there. And then just like with the Multiverse versions, that has the name on the side. So if you happen to see these at the stores, which is not very often anymore, you know what you're grabbing. However, is this figure magical or just a bunch of hocus pocus? Let's dive in and take a closer look. John Constantine was created by Alan Moore, Stephen R. Bissett, and John Toltobin, debuting in Swamp Thing issue 37 from June 1985. The character was famously inspired by the musician Sting. Bissett and Toltobin were big fans and wanted to draw someone who looked like him. Moore obliged. However, DC was initially worried about a lawsuit, until Sting saw himself and said in Rolling Stone that he was flattered. Now, additionally, there are some interesting speculation around the name Hellblazer. Apparently, the creators originally wanted to call the series Hellraiser, but the title was revised due to the release of Clive Barker's horror film, Hellraiser. Instead, they chose Hellblazer, a name that I feel perfectly encapsulates John Constantine's role as someone who blazes a trail through hell. Initial writer Jamie Delano said that he was fairly ambivalent about the change. And it's a neat bit of comic book lore that adds mystique to the character and the series. If you'd like Supertronomy to do a deep dive on the After Dark channel, let us know down in the comments. Now for Hellblazer, Delano and artist John Ridgway, along with the cover artist Dave McKean's distinctive painted and collage work, crafted the early run. Delano introduced a political edge to the character, saying, "I was interested in commenting on 1980s Britain. That's where I was living, and it was shit, and I wanted to tell everybody." The name is a great entry point to understand the character. He's not your typical hero, but a street smart anti-hero fighting demons and dark forces with cunning and grit rather than brute strength. His moral ambiguity is central. Constantine often sacrifices others to save the bigger picture, making him very different from traditional superheroes. An occult detective and conman from Liverpool, Constantine is a master of the dark arts and a thorn in the side of demons and angels alike. He plays dirty, manipulates those around him, and always seems to know more than he lets on, especially when he's with the Justice League Dark. His trademark cigarette addiction is both a character trait and a metaphor for his self-destructive tendencies, which Moore has openly admitted was partly based on his own struggles. One lesser-known gem from the Hellblazer series, in issue 39, John recalls a glowing golden boy from childhood, an imaginary friend he both loved and hated. It turns out not to be imaginary, but a haunting echo of a twin brother he never knew he had. If you want to explore more, check out more Swamp Thing, the classic Hellblazer run, and the Justice League Dark series from DC Rebirth. So now that we've got a handle on what kind of hell Constantine walks through, let's see how well this figure captures that edge. The figure itself actually looks really nice. Like, it captures the essence of John Constantine very well. I mean, they got the nice tan coat going on, got the messed up tie, and kind of that ripped jeans to kind of have that punk rock British look. The blonde hair looks good, and you can see he has those devilish blue eyes. Skin tones match. They look good. That white shirt looks great. Love all the ripples in the pants, the belt. Then, of course, the sleuth shoes. One thing, and this has been a complaint that I know a lot of fans of McFarlane, not just the DC Multiverse, but just the figures in general, is the tiny feet. I don't understand why they want to make them so thin. I mean, it would just help if you just put a little bit of width on them, because a lot of the times you can see it's just with those tiny feet, unless you get it just right, they always fall, and it's really frustrating. I do like the kind of more relaxed nature, as they have the tie here just loosened up. In this, be very careful. when you're posing because you don't want that to rip because that could come off very easily. The only thing that I wish that McFarlane would do is just like with Mezco and Mafex, cloth. The hard jackets are just as frustrating for me as the capes. And then this too, where if some figures, this you cannot, it's glued on unfortunately, but some characters like the Hasbro ones, you can take the coat off, which is cool, but then you get that ugly slat there, and then you're stuck with coat arms and nothing else. As where I think with the Mezco one, like with the Detective Gordon, and I really am thinking about getting rid of this one eventually and getting the Mezco version. But I think you could take that cloth jacket off from the photography that I've seen. But for the price point where, those are more high-end, paint apps look really nice. I like that they kind of gave him that sort of 5 o'clock shadow on the face to make him look more gritty and ready to go to. And of course, he has some of the ripples in his forehead, that serious look. The only thing that bugs me, and I'm glad that McFarlane finally, they made an announcement that they were going to kind of knock off, is a lot of these figures have that side eye, and I hate that. It's so freaking agitating. But nonetheless, it looks really good. As for the accessories, I wish that we could get more, again, like Mezco and Mafex. But I get it. Budget. We do get a hand effect, which looks pretty cool with the oranges and the yellow. Very translucent. And of course, the skin tone matches the hands. Speaking of, the one thing that I will say in terms of the paint apps overall and whatnot, the look, ugly ball joints. This should have been pushed down further and had the peg come out more, because a lot of the shots that I've had to do, I've had to go in and close those gaps, and I get tired of having to do joint closings, especially, look at that. That is so ugly. But thankfully, the hands are easily swappable, so real quick, this is the right hand. Think about it. Reminds me of that South Park episode where the serial killer and the South Park police guys trying to figure out which hand is which. Like, these are left hands, this isn't our killer, and then they do like a whole 80s movie montage. But anyway, see, ugly gap. But you get it on there, and it's kind of got that cool effect, so not too bad. I can't complain too much that we at least get that. The other thing that we get is a book, and this to me is very much akin to something you'd see like with Supernatural, something that Dean and Sam would carry. I wish there was some black text or some black wash on there to make it look more ancient, but at least on the front, if you want to put it in his hand while he's casting a spell or whatever, it fits relatively okay. So you can kind of get him doing this. So you can kind of put him on a shelf, something like that. So at least we get those. And then, of course, the other thing that comes with is the mandatory card, which is the cover of the Black Adam comic book that we've gone over. So make sure to check that out. It's a really gorgeous piece. I wish it was more centered on John Constantine here, but hey, when you get Lee Bermejo, you can't complain. I'll make sure you get the back so you can check out the readout of what they have there. Now that's all the accessories and the paint apps for the figure. So what you're getting for the price point of when he originally came out, because one thing that I will say about some of these McFarlane toys is it's like they drop, cool, and then of course we get the jerks that, it's released at midnight and you go to grab it, and if you're not there at midnight on the dot, boom, sold out. And you go to the secondary market, and I'm like, yeah, there's no way I'm paying $60, $70, $80 for this figure. So at least if you're able to find them in the wild, definitely one worth picking up if you're kind of a Justice League Dark and the more Alan Moore era action figures. Thankfully, the articulation on this figure is not bad either. So the head, look down that much. And even with the coat, you can kind of at least get him to look up that much. Side to side motion, and of course you get a nice lot of play there, so I'm thankful for that. Arms, luckily the coat doesn't impede, so you can go 360. As the bicep, swivel, double jointed elbows, even though it looks a little awkward, you at least have it. And then of course, even though the ball joints look ugly, at least there's a decent range of motion there for you. Ab crunch. Now, again, as I always say, make sure to warm these figures up, because for whatever reason, because they sling them out so quick, I don't know if it's they don't have time to worry about the paint. So I've noticed this with like Hasbro and McFarlane, but we don't have that with like Mezco and Mafex. I don't know what's different. I don't know if it's just because better quality control, but for these you have to warm them up. Because I've seen too many horror pictures where guys and gals will post their figures online. They'll be like, I just took it out of the box, tried to move his arm, and it snapped. And it's because the paint's getting the joints, and you have to warm it up so that you can compensate for that. Now, even with this stupid hard plastic coat, you can at least get them to go back that much. I'm glad that they gave them that as well as waist articulation. Thankfully, the pants don't look like a diaper like some of these figures do. Can go out that far, kick out that much, double jointed knees. And because it's soft and the coat at least allows you can still kind of go 90 degrees, foot up and down, foot pivot, side to side action. So again, for what you're getting at this price point, the articulation and the accessories, not too bad. And again, if you are a huge John Constantine fan, this one is definitely up your alley. Now to put our Hellblazer next to some of the, for the lack of a better word, Justice League Dark characters. This is the McFarlane's Deadman, the Deluxe Swamp Thing, the Demonites version of Etrigan, and then the Justice Gods Among Us Dr. Fate. Whereas if you guys know where I can get the Page Puncher version, the kind of the old OG Silver Age version, let me know. If you want to trade or whatever, just let me know, because I'm itching for that character, because both these have that hard plastic, and it makes Etrigan in particular a pain in the ass to try to stand. But putting quality aside, these figures are gorgeous, and if you're a fan of the darker side of DC, this is definitely up your alley. Though I will admit that I'm a little irked that they have not released a Zatanna yet. You'd think with all the female body molds that they have that they would finally give us Zatanna. But in the meantime, while we wait, we at least have these figures. What do you plan to do with your more dark side of DC Comics? Are you going to do shelf displays? Are you going to do action figure photography? Snap some photos and share with us over on the socials. We'd love to take a look. This is a beautiful figure. Things aside, the skinny feet, and I just wish that there was more posability, maybe some more, some more accessories. And I wish that this cape was cloth. I'm so tired of these hard plastic things. I'm just ready for action figure companies to finally do away with them, because NECA's been kicking butt with the cloth, even though they need the bendy wire. And then, of course, Mafex and Mezco and McFarlane's finally starting to catch on, but I just wish that he would do it with some of these coats, because, yeah, okay, we're going to let it go. Nonetheless, if you are a fan of DC Comics, of horror, John Constantine is definitely up your alley. So if you've enjoyed what you've seen, as I always say, please first and foremost support your local comic shop or wherever there's to get your action figures and comics, and pick this figure up. If not, then I wish the best of luck to you guys trying to hunt it down on the secondary market. And if you've enjoyed this review, really would appreciate if you take a moment to like, share, and subscribe. Helps the channel more than you could possibly know. And if you don't mind hitting that fancy little Hellblazer bell next, subscribe. That way as I can upload content, you guys get notified. Come to the channel, and I love talking with you all and hearing your thoughts and feedback down in the comments or the socials, which I'll make sure I leave the links down in the description. So with all that said, photo slideshow coming up next. Hope y'all continue to have an absolutely amazing day reading, and happy hunting, everyone. Hey y'all, I got some action figures up for sale to make room for future reviews on the channel. If you're interested, hit me up on the socials or shoot me an email. I'm only using PayPal for now. Check out the Google link in the description for pricing and availability. If something grabs you, we can work out a price. And just a heads up, shipping will be additional based on your location. Thanks for supporting the hunt.